Welcome everyone to the Carrot Mapper presentation from the University of Nottingham. Brief contents, an introduction looking at Health Informatics Group here at Nottingham, a bit of developmental background context for the Carrot Mapper and Carrot Toolset, an overview of the Carrot Toolset and the Carrot Mapper. Then I'm going to move to a live mapper session, look at Carrot Mapper, what it does, and then how this supports the Health Data Research UK cohort discovery tool, and then quickly to finish off a summary. So here we are at sunny Nottingham today. Dr. Phil Quinnan leads the group, so he's Director of Health Informatics. Within that group, we have Dr. Graziella Figueiredo, Dr. Tim Beck, and myself, Dr. Esmond Irwin. I'm a digital researcher and data engineer here at the university. I have a background in informatics, heavyweight ontologies, and in interoperability with defence industry, space industry, aerospace, and now in health data. So I work for the Nottingham Biomedical Research Centre here at the university. It's a 5-year programme, predominantly between the university and the NHS University Hospitals Trust. Looks at bringing together people to develop first-class, world-class research, healthcare professionals, academics, clinicians, to better accelerate research. And the focus really is outcomes for patients. How can we make patients better, bring about better healthcare delivery for them? So within the Nottingham BRC, we have our informatics group. It's a cross-cutting theme across all of the research themes, and we're looking at how we can better utilise, better apply big data across all of these themes, and then also aligned with this, develop a new translational data platform to bring about better use of the big data. So how did this all come about? Well, Dr. Phil Quinnan and his group for a number of years were looking at development tools for better discoverability and reuse of data. Lots of pots of data everywhere. And not often are they reused, and all that benefit that could be brought about by reusing it and developing new research is often untapped. During the COVID pandemic, the CoConnect project, a 2-year project, was funded right at the start of the pandemic, and this looked at how to develop a tool set to enable discoverability of health data sets, and thus bring about reuse of that data. Its approach was a federated approach, so rather than bringing all different data sets around the country into one large pot of data, the focus was actually the data can stay where it is with the data owners in their infrastructure, and that can reduce a lot of governance headaches around data. Problem with healthcare, I'm sure many of us know this. Data resides in many different formats: paper, different data sets, Excel, etc. Many times this is not well structured, not well defined, and not well explained. And thus the outcome of this is it is hard to understand, and it can be incredibly difficult to compare data sets. Thus the focus is fair data, making it findable, making it interoperable, making it accessible, and making it reusable. So rather than trying to compare 2 different source data sets that could use different meanings and vocabulary standards, we look to map to the OMOP CDM standard with our Carrot Mapper tool. And utilising OMOP CDM, this brings about valid comparisons because we can compare apples with apples for such converted and represented data sets. So the Carrot Mapper tool itself, so Carrot Mapper for omop.ac.uk. So it is developed to convert data sets to the OMOP CDM. It is free to use. It is open source. There is a GitHub repository, and we are very open to development from contributions from the community, and we really do welcome your involvement in this tool as we look to further develop it. So please do get in contact with us. So the Carrot toolset itself, so three main areas here, and this really represents the whole extract, transform, and load process, so the ETL process. Additionally, as you can see, there's a QR code for Carrot for OMOP. Please use it and have a look at the documentation, the explanation of the Carrot toolset. So today I'm just going to quickly look at that first section of the process, and then I'm going to focus on the Carrot Mapper tool itself. So the first section of the process, this is the data owner's focus. When we map to OMOP CDM, myself as data engineer, it's preferable to work on pseudonymized and anonymized data sets, and in fact that is what we like to do. We ask the data owners to pseudonymize or anonymize their data sets, and then we utilize a tool, something called White Rabbit. So from Odyssey, it's a statistical profiling tool, and it looks at the structure of a data set, predominantly the metadata, and it produces something called a scan report. So it's an Excel file, and it's a count of the data attributes within it and the answers that are used for each individual data set. So the output of this is from the data owner, pseudonymized or anonymized, and then the scan report is output, and it breaks the relationships between those data items as well. So once we've got a scan report from a data owner, that is sent to us. So an anonymized, pseudonymized scan report. The Carrot Mapper, it is takes that source data representation, metadata representation, and we look to map it to the OMOP CDM. The output of this at the end of this process is a JSON mapping file, and this can be used to finalize the ETL process and develop an OMOP CDM representation of a given dataset. So the Carrot Mapper sits in its own secure environment. You need to be able to log in to this secure environment to utilize the tool. For this, you need to apply for user profile in Carrot, but the tool is free to use. And because it sits in its own secure environment, it solves a lot of the governance issues around people having to access multiple different environments, secure environments. And again, I will say we work on pseudonymized and anonymized data sets within this secure environment. So what does it represent within the OMOP CDM? So Carrot currently has 7 tables that we utilize from the OMOP CDM, and this is ever expanding. So person table, condition occurrence, drug exposure, procedure occurrence, measurement, observation, and finally the specimen table. So now I'm going to flip to a web browser, so forgive me whilst I quickly do that, and I'm going to show you a live demonstration of the Carrot tool. Okay, so here we are within the web browser. This is the Carrot tool in its own secure environment. This is the homepage. There is some information around the scan reports within the system, who's uploaded what in terms of data partner, and then the status of said scan reports. So some brief overall information. And again, you can view this for archived reports and currently active reports, all of the reports. So at the top of the page here, we have a number of tabs. So home, we have data sets, scan reports, documentation. You have the ability to change your password and also log out once you've finished your session. So if I quickly touch on documentation, when you click on that, that gives you a link to the Carrot for omop.ac.uk website. Here we have information about the Carrot toolset as a whole, a quick welcome, something around data standards, what we like to conform to when we're mapping within Carrot, information about the Carrot mapper, like you've seen here with the diagram, so quick start user guide, etc. And then we have some information around the Carrot CDM tool to finalize the ETL process, pseudonymization and information around TestLink for BC Platforms, BC Link software. And to the top right, you can see here, there's a link to the Carrot GitHub repository. So if I go back to the home page here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an overview of data sets. So if I click on data sets, you can see the active data sets within the system. Now this is for a given user profile, so you might have certain privileges to see certain data sets or not see certain data sets. So if let's say I jump to the number of pages here, so there's a bit of pagination to show you what's in the system. If I jump to page 6, as you can see here, I'm going to show you the Panther dataset from here at the University of Nottingham. So this is something I mapped a while back and currently remapped. It's a COVID healthcare dataset from the University of Nottingham's Healthcare NUH Healthcare Trust. As you can see here, you can look at the details of the dataset, and dataset can hold many scan reports. So it's a one-to-many relationship. And if I click on Panther here, you can see it has one associated scan report. You can look at the rules. You can set whether mapping's been complete. And what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click and go into the scan report to show the scan report. And please note this is all anonymized data set, so there is no row level data. It is metadata that has been anonymized. So we are now within the scan report, and these are the tables for that given scan report for that given Panther dataset. And what I'm going to show you here, we've got details around the scan report. We can go to the rules, which I'll show you shortly. We can download the scan report, and additionally, there's the ability to download a dictionary, data dictionary. I will show you shortly around how to upload a scan report. So I'm going to choose the questionnaire table here. I'm going to click on it. Firstly, when we map, we need to set the person ID and the date event, and you can edit the table here. And for this, we've already set the person ID and the date event, and once that's done, you can then map to OMOP. So here we are. This is the source data for this table. We've got aspects around date of visit and IDs here. Again, anonymized. There's no data within those. So it's COVID data set. Here are the now accepted, widely accepted symptoms for COVID-19. I'm going to quickly click on headache. And we can see here the values within it, the counts from the scan report. And we can see here we've got N and no, and Y and yes. Within Carrot, we map for the positive values. There's no point mapping for values that have no meaning, i.e. there's no, if somebody says no, they don't have it, then it's not a positive. So we map for the positive. And as you can see here, we have headache, the OMOP code, which is that. So let's say I delete that because I want to change my map. As you can see, it's been removed. And then once you look up a symptom, let's say another, you go to Athena, you find the OMOP code, you paste the code, going to paste headache back in, and you click add, and literally there we have it. A rule is created within the system for that data item, i.e. headache. From the source data, we map to that OMOP code representation, and it is literally as easy as that. So what I'm going to do is, if I just jump back to these data items within that table, and if I go to the rules, I'm going to show you the rules here. We can see we have a number of rules here. So we've got the rule ID, destination, tab and field, source, so from source to destination, so source data to OMOP CD representation here. We can see that the rule ID that's been created for headache, yes, that data term has been mapped to the OMOP code 3782253 to represent headache, which is fantastic. Now, as you can see at the top here, we have the ability to refresh rules, and as things are mapped within the system over the time, a time period, you can start to reuse these rules. So rather than having to map everything manually, if you upload a brand new scan report, let's say for Panther into the system, and you assign it to that Panther dataset, you can click refresh rules and it will update per table and reuse rules where applicable, which is a great ability to use and can save a lot of time and effort when mapping to the OMOP CDM. Now, the outcome of all of this is once you've finished your mapping, you just want to have a look at where you are thus far. You can download a JSON file, which is fantastic. Additionally, you can view a map diagram, so a nice little ability to generate a diagram to show you source data, metadata to OMOP CDM mapping, to show you what data items have been mapped for a given table within the scan report and where it maps to the OMOP CDM. You can download that map. You can download a CSV output. So not just the JSON, you can download a CSV. You have the ability to show summary views and then analyze the rules. So that's datasets. Dataset can have multiple scan reports. But what about scan reports? Well, here, click the tab. Again, you can look at the current scan reports within the system, or you can upload a scan report. So if I click here, this is the tab for a new scan report. And you can input the data partner. So obviously, University of Nottingham for ourselves. Dataset, obviously, for this, it's just a demo. And here we have the ability to restrict. So for your given user profile, depending on what privileges you have, you can restrict the visibility of a scan report and or dataset. So you can set it as public. Now, public in this context means public within the system. So for that group of registered users that only have access to the system, that is the meaning of that. So if I click it as public, those X number of registered users in the system can see it. If I want to restrict it, I can then go away and set who can see what in terms of visibility. At the moment, it's just me, and also you can set who can edit that as well. So you can block the ability to change things down. You enter a name for the given scan report, and then you can choose to upload White Rabbit scan report, so the path and any associated data dictionary, and you click submit, and the system takes the file and uploads it into the system. So we try to minimize the interactions with the user and make it as user friendly as possible. So that's scan reports, and then you can look at the scan reports in the system. So that said, we've got the data sets, we've got the scan reports in, we have the ability to output a JSON file, and what we have is, so we have health data research here in the UK, so HDR UK Innovation Gateway. This is a gateway looking at how can we help people find data sets. So it's for discoverability, and you can enter a given search term. As you can see here, a number of data sets, so 834 currently, number of papers assigned with those, etc. And if I, let's say, click and search for Nottingham, it will show you currently we've got a number of data sets here that are associated with the university and the Biomedical Research Centre. So as you can see here, so IBEAT OA, so that's internet-based exercise for knee osteoarthritis. If I click on that, that will take me to some information about the data set, so a quick abstract, some documentation, associated papers with DOIs for that, DOI details, some data around the coverage of the data set, so temporal coverage, when it started, when it stopped, age ranges, anything around data standards formats, so local to OMOP, and then some other information around the data set. So this is a great way to find out who has what where, and then you can look at technical details, so some methods, some basic metadata, what's within that data set. But there is the ability here to go a bit further than this. There's something called the Cohort Discovery Tool, and you can click this and it takes you to this page, Cohort Discovery Tool, facilitated by BC Platforms, BC RQuest. And this is where the output of the Carrot Mapper tool, so that JSON file that you do mapping, and it sends out this JSON file. So the end of the ETL process, this is where it starts to come into play, because you can go away and you can start to query who has what where for a given condition or observation that you're interested in. So you click the Add a New Cohort tool, new cohort button here for the tool. Build a new query. I have put in cough. Here we go. You add something, you can stipulate age range, etc. And you can look at whether it's cough, so the condition itself, or productive cough, so a bit of further information around it. You then add that new group to the new query, then press the run button. And for obvious reasons, I've done this before the presentation to make sure it is representative and working. And as can be seen here, I've pressed run, a simple query, but looking at the symptom cough condition. So you can see here, cough has been added. We've run this over a number of different discoverable cohorts that have been converted to the OMOP CDM. So the OMOP code 254761, you can see the synonyms for the different vocabularies here. And what it's returned is a set of results. So we can see here, we've got the Auspex data set. We've got 10,979 hits for this. Solid COVID data set, we've 76 hits, the matched data set, 72 hits for that condition of cough. And then we've got a breakdown in age range, so the mean, the median for Auspex, again for match. And then we can see here, we've got the breakdown for sex at birth, so female or male, for the given corresponding data sets. So you've mapped to OMOP, you've got your JSON file, you've finalized your ETL process, you then have a discoverable, anonymized OMOP CDM representation of your data set. And this tool enables federated discovery of data sets of currently around the UK. And this is how Carrot comes into play. It enables a fast and easier way to convert representations from source data to OMOP CDM. Okay, right, I'm going to swap back to the presentation, so forgive me quickly. So, like I said, the current tool is ever developing. 7 tables are represented. We're looking to expand this over time. And in summary, it's a free to use open source tool. All you need to do is register and be assigned a user account. It's in its own secure environment, away from data owners, data partners, secure environments. So it's its own separate entity. Great way to convert source data to OMOP CDM representation. It reduces governance headaches. We building and have built an easy to use interface. You can output in a number of formats, predominantly JSON for ETL, but again, CSV files can be output. And we really do welcome collaboration from everyone in the world on this. There's a GitHub repository. There's the QR code there, carrotforomop.ac.uk. Please feel free to have a look, read up on it, and please do get in contact, say hello, and we really do look forward to speaking to you, interacting with you, and building partnerships with you. So that being said, really, I thank you for your time and attention. I do hope it has been useful, and potentially look forward to speaking to you in the future. So thank you very much. Take care. Bye-bye.